Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and thank you for joining today's Neo4j Live, Build Smarter Graph Visualizations with AI Agents. And I'm very happy to have Sebastian Müller join me today. Hi, Sebastian. How are you doing?
Hey, Alex. Thank you very much. I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. So happy to be back again. And I hope this is going to be an awesome show. I got quite a lot of things to show you, quite a lot of visual stuff. So I hope there's something to see for the audience today.
I'm pretty sure of it. You are Sebastian. For the people who don't know you, Sebastian is a CTO of yWorks, and that's a graph visualization toolkit, I would say, with various visualization parts of it, but mainly visualizing graphs. And you're doing this for a long time. So I think you're one of the most influential and most known, I guess, also figures around in the graph visualization.
Yeah, we have been doing this
for
25 years. This year is it's our anniversary this year. So
oh, wow.
yWorks is 25 years this year. I haven't been there from the start. I started in 2002. So it's been a pretty long time, and I've seen a lot of graph visualizations and diagrams. And some of what I've seen, the gist of it, I'd like to show you today. So yeah, it's quite a lot of time.
It's got a lot, yeah. And I you mentioned this. You were here a couple of months ago, or was it last year? I think it's been last year for when we talked about graph visualization and all that stuff. And it's always a very cool topic, very exciting and very interesting. I think to me, what happens with you take a bit of raw data, oftentimes very messy, very tabular, which nobody knows anything what's going on here. Then you put it in a graph, you do some magic, and then all of a sudden, with your tool or generally you have something that makes sense to you, and you can understand, oh yeah, this is what's going on here, and this is interesting. Oh, I haven't known about this. Look at this specific node that's like in the middle of something, and it's very apparent that the power of graph visualization if you take that on. I think so. That's been fun. Last time, I'm very much looking forward to today's episode.
Oh, don't put too much pressure on me. But yeah, I think there's going to be something in it for all of us today. Yeah. I hope so, at least.
I'm pretty sure of it. And you and I, we were talking about this topic a couple of weeks ago, just before Notes. Excuse me. And then we had. And you shared this little shorts video that you made with a couple of agents that sort of battling each other and say, hey, I can make the better visualization. And then that was very fun. And we said, hey, we have to do this at a little longer content video to showcase, okay, what can be done, how much can you outsource, how much can you actually have the agents do without writing much code, without having to do all the heavy lifting a little bit, but and I'm sure you're going to show us that. So I was excited then, and I'm pretty excited about this topic today. And I hope the viewers who join us live are as well. And as always, I'd like to keep this engaging and interactive as much as possible. So if you're joining us live, please let us know. What have you done with agents? Maybe what do you think of this? What Sebastian will show us in a little bit, and maybe if you have any questions, any feedback, comments, we are always appreciative of those, and we would like to answer as much as possible throughout the session today. And if you have anything else besides that, please put your thoughts or your questions into the comments on the YouTube video. There we will look regularly to answer any other questions that come in.
Absolutely, yeah. Sounds like a good plan. So how do we start? Should we talk a bit about what kinds of visualizations, graph visualizations there is there? Because I've seen that previous people many have an idea about graph visualization, but I think it's sometimes the wrong idea. So it's a too narrow view. So why not start about looking at different types of visualizations that there are, just to get you an idea about the complexity that's inherent part of visualization, I'd say.
Yeah, that's good. I'll switch over to here, so we see the screen. Yeah.
Awesome. So just to give you a very quick idea, I mean, we know there's lots of different kinds of data, and most data, they have some use case. They are about a certain topic, a business domain, and if not all data requires visualization, but if you want to visualize it, there should be different ways of visualizing them. And just to give you a quick idea, this is our homepage, which shows the library that we built and what you can do with it. And just to give you an idea about what their different types of visualizations there can be, these are just some demos, some use cases out of many, many more. And you can see that there's very different types of visualizations. I bet most of you have seen visualizations like this before. Like we've seen that in the trailer also, and they're quite common. And that's what most people think when they think about visualization. It's like those nice little dots and those
yes,
visualization with the edges. But visualization can be much more complex depending on the use case. For example, I mean, there's even like there's hard rules for how something should be visualized. For example, in a BPMN diagram, it's also a graph, but it's obviously very far away from a visualization like this one over here. So people can work with the data. They want to see more than just the elements, but they want to understand how they interact with it, how there's maybe flow within the data. Quite popular, or some example is if you're working with organization charts. It's not just about showing the items, but how they interconnect. And one of the hardest things is coming up with a good layout, with arranging the items on the screen so that you can see the information rather than by looking for it. So, for example, here's a flow, inherent flow in the data. We see that there's companies at the top and at the bottom, and they own each other. And you would probably have a hard time understanding the data if we were arranging them like arbitrarily on the screen. So finding the right layout, the right visualization, putting the right information on the screen is a hard process. And there's so many different ways that you can do that. And this means that visualization isn't easy. It's not just run visualization, pass the data, and you're done. Just choosing the colors for your little circles isn't typically enough for the more advanced use case.
Yeah, definitely not. No, yeah.
You need a powerful tool that can do all of this stuff. And well, the problem with this is you need to decide which ones to use, and you need to like configure the visualization so that they match your use cases. And well, as with all powerful things, they come with cost. I mean, with complexity. There's so many options that you have in here. I mean, we have like 300 different demos in our showcase over here, and they all look different. And obviously, they can't be the same configuration. There's so many different choices. So what we have is our library, and it's a programming library, and you can configure it by writing code so that you map the data from your database to a visualization. And now, not everyone enjoys programming as much as I do, or has the time to learn another framework like just for simple visualization. So who helps us today with the hard work? AIs, LLMs. They promise to make everything easier and simpler, and that's what we're trying to do here. So today I would like to show you that you don't have to like learn all the APIs that are behind these visualizations and still be able to create visualizations for your data with the help of LLMs and coding agents with just a few steps, and literally within, well, not seconds, but minutes.
Yeah. It's amazing always. I'm still, I mean, I've seen this dozens of times now, but still every time something, and then especially when it works, it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is, why not let the LLM just write the code for us? That's obviously one option. The problem with LLMs is that they have been trained on, well, the typical LLM has been trained on the whole internet.
Yeah.
And well, hallucinations, I don't think I need to explain that here, exists. So but when I tell an LLM to write code for a complicated API like this, it will make errors, it will make mistakes, it won't work without a little help from us. Yeah. So the idea that we have is basically We know that from other parts in your Neo4j databases is basically context engineering, is teaching the LLM while it's working on our question, the topics, the context, to then provide better answers. So the idea in this case is not to let the LLM like create a visualization from data. So the LLM is not about to like perform the query, read through the data, and then create a visualization, but rather write a program that performs the query and then maps that to visualization. And for this, obviously, it has to know the API. And the most simple thing to do is to just paste the knowledge into your chatbot. That's the easiest thing that you do. You don't even need a coding editor. So that's what I started with. So I had this little applications over here. I have some, for the purpose of this demonstrations, I'll be working with a little Neo4j database that I have, which has a quite simple schema. It's about a supply chain. So there's a supply chain consists of facilities that produces products, and those products flow into other products. So basically, it's a flow of materials while they are being processed. And so this is my little database. I have those facilities grouped in groups. So that's the schema, and the content could look like this. So so there's products in facilities, and there's a flow between products. So here this is about a bakery supply chain, and so there's croissants packaged, and they flow into a cafe, a croissant. Okay, that's a boring example, but you get the idea. So this is just a tiny part of the graph.
Okay.
So what I did is I asked the LM to write a program for me. So I first went to my IDE and brought a super tiny basic program. Basically, the whole program is in here. For this example, I'm using our Streamlit widget that you can just download and install. It's free to use, and so it's just a simple Streamlit application that you run in your IDE or configure in your IDE, and then we'll host visualization for you. And so that's all the code that I have in my IDE, and I tell it. So I have this Streamlit project over here, and Neo4j is there, and there's also this yFiles graphs for Streamlit plugin, which the LLM doesn't know about because we just released it like a month ago. So it's not in the training data. So how can it work with that? Well, it also doesn't know the contents of our database. I'm giving it the credentials for the local database here, but it doesn't know the contents. So it needs to like understand the schema, and then needs to understand how to work with the API of that plugin.
Yeah.
So I'm just pasting it there. So I'm telling it, I'm giving it instructions. So please implement the remainder of my program, and then here's the structure of my database, and it's just
provided that.
just some idea. I'll show you later how I created that, but you could just like explain your data set to it. It needs to be accurate, of course. So make sure there's no typo in there, because this is what the LM will use as the source of truth. And that's also there's one actual question I had. Okay, now create a Cypher query, and I came up with some idea how to render some flow from the data, and I tell it to run that query on the server, and then show the results in the graph in the widget. And now it's the important part. I tell it to, since you don't know how to use the widget, please just look on GitHub. There's a description just for you. It's for agents, meaning that's a markdown file. It's just a text file, which is like a short version of the API documentation of the widget.
Okay. So that's specifically for an AI LLM or some other to read and to get information about how. Let's have a look.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes,
it's basically just documentation. It's not that much, actually. It's just like
a couple of pages.
3 pages long. And now, when I did that already before, so it took 3 minutes. When I press this, what happens is that the LLM will see that in order to solve this task, in order to answer the question, it actually fetches this file dynamically while it runs and reads through it. And then you might have to enable web search in order for this to work. The alternative would be to just copy and paste all of this and paste this into your prompt. It's just the same effect. But once I've done this, it thought for 2 minutes. I think I could have used a quicker model, and that would have probably gone in a few seconds. But yeah, ChatGPT 5.1 is a bit slow sometimes. But yeah, it took almost 3 minutes, and then it came up with a Python file. And that's a self-contained file, and it does lots and lots of stuff. And what I did is I just copied the code, and I pasted this into my application that I had prepared. So the application that I had was just like these 4 lines that I also had in the prompt. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what it did, it ran and created this. Oh no, it didn't run. It ran, and I pasted in those files in here. And now I have just a single application Python file in here. And what did it do? It created a graphdatabase driver connected to Neo4j. Then it came up with a Cypher query that matched my description, and it executed that query, and then mapped all the results that it received from the Cypher query to the data format that is required by the widget, which is actually a widget that is completely independent of Neo4j. It doesn't know about Neo4j, so it's really all the code all the glue code between the database and the widget was written basically by the LLM in one shot, and that works surprisingly well. It's quite a sophisticated Cypher query in here. It's not super trivial, but LLMs are quite good, have gotten quite good at this. So like 2 years ago, I know there would have been tons of mistakes in here, but now you can really be confident about the quality of the queries that it produces. And well, what it does, it in the end, somewhere down here, it does some styling configurations. It came up with some coloring for the items and so on, and also some interactivity where I can enter stuff in there. So it's actually an interactive application that it created. And in the end, it creates the widget and shows it on the screen, and that's it. And now I have this running, so let me just show you this one. So when I start this one, it asked me to enter some group that I have in my database, and then it came up with this visualization by traversing the group, finding the factories, and inside the factories, coming up with the products. And you see really nicely the flow in here between those items. Okay. So, for example, you see that eggs are, in this sample data, they come from upcycled food waste. Probably they have been fed to chicken, I guess. And then this flows to all kinds of French patisserie. I don't know. And this is the widget, and it's interactive, meaning that all the parts around here have been created by the LLM. Only this part in here is the widget that we provided it. So I could change the information here. Let's pick up something like I think there's also a valid input. Some gateways. Hit enter, then it comes up with another graph.
Okay.
So this is completely interactive.
Very cool.
And this literally required no programming specific to the visualization at all.
No.
I started with this prompt here, and the only thing that you would have to do to have it work with your use case is obviously adjust the database credentials and the question, and that's it.
And provide the structure a little bit more, And then I guess even you could probably, if you have something else running, you could probably also do this through so another agent, like I'm thinking MCP, and have that fetch the schema of your database.
Exactly. And this is what I'm going to show you next, because that's the next natural step. Because even though this was quite convenient and just took me a couple of minutes, well, I had to come up with this stuff, and so that's a bit boring part, of course. Well, I could just like write this manually from here over there, but yeah, there's tools for that, obviously, because this is just a simple job that an LLM can do. And if you want to like orchestrate an LLM and give it multiple tasks, well, what you do is what you just pointed at is using an MCP server. An MCP server, for those who don't know it, is a tool that the LLM can like use to interact with things with all kinds of stuff of things. Just like it interacted with the internet by downloading this this agents file and reading it. We can also have tools, and Neo4j kindly provides those tools to dynamically go to the database and fetch information about the schema. And then rather than having to like write this, the LLM will go and fetch this dynamically for you. I'm going to show you how this works. So I have this, where is it? This one, the other one. So many examples here, just a second. Where is it? The Streamlit example over here. So, and this is Visual Studio Code IDE. Probably you've recognized this already. And this is using the Client plugin, which is a free plugin that you can just install and use. Cool. It's a software programming agent that you can configure, and it works with MCP servers. And I have two of these installed here, and one of this is the Neo4j database MCP tool. And you can actually see what capabilities this tool provides to the agents. So that it can get the Neo4j schema, and it can actually execute Cypher, so that the idea is for the LLM to execute the Cypher, for example, to probe the data during development, not for when the application will run. At that time, there's no MCP servers involved anymore. That's during development, when the LLM actually performs its job. And so I have this server installed, and this means that I can now just like go and ask it a question. I think I have this somewhere in my history here, over here. This I asked it, so what's in my Neo4j database? That's all I entered, and then it went away, and it came back after spending 7 cents, because I forgot to use a cheaper model, but 7 cents is okay, I'd say. And it went and invoked the get Neo4j schema tool, and it got this like kind of cryptically looking response, but the information is all in there, and the LLMs don't really care about the format as long as the information is there. They're happy to interpret this. Exactly. And it came back with basically what I pasted before. So I did this before. So I was quite a bit cheating. So I did this. But I could have done this, but this is how I did it. So I took this one and just pasted it into my prompt when I did it the manual way. But this one really like went there and interpreted the results and came up with this description of the data. And there's also a summary, a description in English, and a couple of useful Cypher queries that I might want to try out.
Oh, okay. Well,
so that's actually really helpful in there. I didn't use it for the actual run, but I could have. So it's just showing the idea. And
do you know if the recommended or suggested Cypher queries, if this is something that the MCP, the Neo4j MCP tool provided, or is this something that Klein decided?
This is something that the LLM did, actually. So we can see what the tool returned, and that's just over here, and there's no Cypher queries in there.
Nothing,
just the schema in there, and that's where the power of LLMs come in. That they're like understanding of the data. So they can put this in words, and thus they also have an idea about what would be a possible nice query. So it's not just a random query, match all, return all. It's really like trying to come up with nice queries in here.
That's really good.
And I haven't tried all of them, but I guess most of them will actually, or probably all of them will work. And the thing is, it really depends on what LLM you're using. The cool thing about Klein is that you can even you can use Klein as a provider, and they even have free models, and those are quite good because they probably look at your code. So there's the Grok model in there. So if you choose this configuration, you don't even have to pay those 7 cents, and it will work quite nicely. So but you will get different results, as we'll see soon in another experiment. Because, well, obviously, if I want to create something big just from a 2-sentence description, there's not a lot of entropy in there. So obviously there's many different results that could match my description. So, and that's what different LLMs tend to do. They tend to give different answers. They are all fine in a way and hopefully match my requirements, but well, they don't have to be the same. And sometimes I found out that just like running the same experiment 3 or 4 times, using a different model, you get different results, and you can go and just combine the best results and get the idea. So that's really fun. Like cherry picking the best options that they came up with.
Exactly. I think that's generally a good approach, and I heard this from a couple of people who did this. It's like, okay, we use a couple of different models, collect a couple of results, then use maybe the same models or different models again, and then say, okay, I have gotten these results back. Which results would be the better ways to proceed, and then you kind of like filter it down and combine it even more, and by using all the different powerful LLMs, and then depending on where they are and where they are sort of built towards what purpose, it might make sense to use them at different stages of your I think agentic workflow maybe is what you could call it.
Exactly. I mean, right now we're still enjoying this. I mean, honestly, of course, this is something that could become boring. But so ideally we wouldn't have to do this, but somehow it could tell us which one is the best. But as I said, I think you can really use it to your advantage by looking at the different options and only then deciding what you actually want or what you actually like best. I mean, because typically you don't know in advance what will be the best solution in the end. So you can't describe it. So that's really cool about this. So what I also did is the first time I ran this, it actually made a mistake. The very first time. The second time it worked, but the first time it made a mistake. And even with the very basic ChatGPT approach that I was using, I just gave it feedback and let it reiterate on the results. So there was one thing that the labels were somehow messed up for products in the first iteration, and I asked it to fix it. And I also asked it for another feature that I wanted. So I was I showed you the wrong version before. This was the second one I showed you. Damn it. This is the second iteration, actually. In the first iteration, there were no groups like in this. So there was a... let me just switch back to the one just to show you what I mean. So the idea was to... It's also big up here. So this was one shot. Check out this one. And just rerun. So this was the initial version. And as you can see, there was this mistake. It didn't have the right labels over here. It's just like node 69, whatever. So that information wasn't like carried over properly. And we also we didn't have those grouping information. So that's the way the data is represented in the database. There's a single node in the Neo4j database for the northbound gateways. What's this? group node, and there's relationships between the group node and the facilities, and obviously, I mean, it's a group. It's named group, so it's maybe not the best way to represent this in this form. So with an edge between us, for the purpose of visualization, putting those three elements or all those that connect to the same group entity in the database into a visual group really helps with the visualization, and that's why I came up with the refinement where I asked it to actually remove those parent-child relationships as regular edges from the graph, and instead create group nodes for them. And this is something that the widget can do and supports. And I asked it to check out the documentation again, and it took 1.5 minutes, and then it came up with the improved version that we saw earlier, that actually then rendered the groups in the way that you probably like them better to be presented.
Yeah. I mean, I think this visualization here that you're showing is probably more standard, I guess, or more vanilla, regular stuff, and compared to what you showed earlier in the library you have available with all these different outlines of depending on your needs, you would have to specify this, I guess, a little bit more. You could say, okay, I need a map, I need a heat map thing, I need maybe organigram like visualization, or in this case the groups should not be separate nodes, because it makes sense, obviously, but it makes even more sense if groups are like containers which keep everything that belongs to the specific group inside them.
Yeah, exactly, and that's basically what's always the case for many of the really good visualizations that I have seen. They don't map one-to-one to the way that you have them stored in the database. Often the database is structured in the way that they are optimized for the queries, or or you can see the original data sources where they come from, so the structure is still there, but it's not how you think about those objects. It's just a way that they are represented in the database. But if you think about it, if you like visualize them in your head, you often come up with different approaches. And obviously one approach is to use like compound nodes, like group nodes, containers, to put them in if you have this strict hierarchy. But there's other things, like sometimes you don't even like show intermediate nodes if there's like chains in your database, and you only want to see the endpoints. You could only have a single edge pointing from the start to the end, and this is just a mapping, and you don't have to change your database contents just for the purpose of the visualization. You can do this on the visualization layer, and then have like an optimized, keep your optimized database design, and still get the value out of your visualization. So now that we learned how to make use of the MCP tools and how well they work, or rather, let me say, when we found out how well those work, we thought, now this is also a good place for us to tap into. So, and you saw that maybe before already when I hit that button. We also have an MCP server over here, and this one is solves the problem of like pasting the documentation into a single file. I mean, this works. What I did here in my prompt works well for this widget, which has just a couple of dozens of different configuration options. I mean, you can create cool things with it, but it's not that super rich. It's a limited widget with just the main features. Or let me put it this way: the documentation is just a small fraction of the whole capabilities.
Okay.
Now it wouldn't be possible for us for our main library that we have to put all the documentation into a single file in there, because it would like immediately break the token limits. I mean, I think our documentation is like I don't know, 20 megabytes of text. So you want to put them in there, and it will cost you a lot of tokens, and you will get an out of tokens error.
Yeah.
And so the way we solve that is that just like we have the Neo4j tool that goes and queries the schema, we implemented tools that go and like query the API. So this is basically what a developer does. So when they need to work with our APIs, they need to like search symbols in the documentation. They need to like see the details, what's implemented, what's in there, what members does an API have, and when I call a function, what parameters do I need to pass in? Where is that thing implemented with that interface and things like that? So a couple of tools that we have, and with these tools, the LLM can check your requirements and then consult the documentation and always gets up-to-date documentation. So no hallucinations anymore, and also the ability to give it documentation that is actually newer than what the LLM has been trained on. And with this in place, we are not limited anymore to like just writing the simple Streamlit application, but we can also go like all in and write complete complex JavaScript applications with much more interactivity and much more bespoke visualizations. That's basically the same what I did with the Streamlit platform, but this is yFiles for HTML using JavaScript and web applications, so it's not Python code, but conceptually it's the same, with the difference that I gave it access to both the Neo4j MCP server and the yFiles API server. And then it went on, and now let me dig out one of these that I had. This one looks expensive. So this was Claude Sonnet, one of the most expensive ones.
Yeah. Okay.
And this that's not 1,000. That's $2.
$2.
So
that's still
$2. That's
okay.
Still okay.
Yeah.
I guess what it did here, it would have taken even me, who really knows the API in and out. It would have taken me probably at least half a day to implement this, and I think it took like 6 minutes or so. I have a video where you can see how this.
And that's 19 steps, right? Is this what you see there? Is that
yeah? Those are actually tasks. There's actually more tasks in between. So what it did is it read the instructions file. It queried the database to understand the structure. It updated the database configuration because, well, it's obviously needs to do this in the application.
Yeah.
It configured node display size and designed the application. Came up with nice colors for the topic. So it just by seeing the data and understanding that this is about a bakery, it came up with its own color choices. Which,
okay.
Well,
good.
We'll see. Not all of them are great, but it really came up with an application design, and so all these steps were taken. So if were needed to be run to get to the end result. So and if we look in there, what it did, it started by looking at the Neo4j schema. Then it thought a little, then updated the database things, and then made some Neo4j Cypher queries. It tried what information is there because I told it to look for the retail hubs, and it just made some example query and got the response. So verified that this is actually the data that we're looking for.
Okay. Yeah.
And also to understand the names of the properties in there again, probably, I guess. I don't know why. Sometimes it tells you in the thinking why it did so, but yeah, sometimes it's I don't know why it does it, but yeah, then it came up with more Cypher queries, and then it did the implementation. This took like 6 minutes, and I'll show you how this looks like in a video that I recorded when I ran this. So just to give you an idea how this looks like, is this running? Yeah, let's find the right place in the. So yeah, then it does these requests, does some thinking, then in this case, it read the instructions that I gave it to how to work with this. And these are generic instructions. These are not specific to the task that I have. So I have these instructions for you to reuse. So you can use the same instructions and it used these to learn about the steps that are necessary to solve the task. And for some of the tools, I have it on, like, I don't have them on auto accept, so I need to manually accept these calls, which in this case wouldn't be a problem because I'm using a read-only Neo4j user either way. So there's not much damage to be done, but it could. There's a lot of tokens, or I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe I just want to stop it from using too many tokens. And so it's working on these, coming up with the queries, running these, and then where is this writing code? So here, this is how it looks like when it's writing code. You see, it's in this case, this is Grok code fast, which is really what its name does. So this is real time. What we see here, you can see how the code is being edited, and yeah, I think it took like 5 or 6 minutes or so. And in the end, the cool thing that I want to show you, it even checks the outputs. It even does the debugging for you. Where's that? Meaning that it will launch a tiny browser and do the clicking and testing, or it will run the linter and verify that it didn't make any mistakes, which is cool good. Because we have a linter that can verify things. We have that for yFiles. It could be that there's such a linter also for your Cypher queries. I don't know, but this also helps reduce hallucinations or the problems that can result from hallucinations. So if I gave it the instructions to run the linter and then fix the problems, and this is what it did. So it made a mistake. Actually, that was my code. That was a mistake in the code that I gave it. So to be fair, I think it didn't make a mistake. I made a mistake in the code that I prepared. So because I had copied it from somewhere else.
Gotta fix it.
Yeah. Okay, fix it. So this is what it looks like. And basically, you could just go away and drink a coffee, but I like to watch them and see where it's going. So that's what I did here. But you don't have to. It's really just on autopilot. If you give it a task, and then it will go and do the stuff for you. And now let's look at the results we have. So I have this one. This is what Grok came up with, and by now I think you know what I mean by the color. Isn't really great. And you'll see later that the OpenAI models have a much better taste, in my humble opinion.
It's a bit 90s vibe.
Maybe it would have worked if I told him to debug the visualization and change the colors. But yeah, anyway, this is what it came up with. It came up with nice item designs, nice in the sense that it shows the information right on the screen. So these are basically what it did is those are React components showing the data. This is the data that you get from the database. There's not much in there. No. But there's a thing like Strasbourg location and the headline. So it came up with this design, green nodes and the headline on top, and then this nice little location pin over here rendering this. And these are the producers over here. So the products over here. And this is actually interactive. So it came up with this design over here where you can see the details again here, and then it can explore connections and walk the graph and see what else is in there. That's pretty cool. And you can even change the query, and let's put the retail hubs again in here, and it will then do a parameterized query and run this live on the data. All of this is live. Nothing of this has been pre-calculated. It's all happening right at this moment. And I can even enter a custom query and hope for it to run. So that's pretty nice, actually. To be honest, to be fair, some of this was part of the blueprint where we told them also maybe consider custom queries or come up with a couple of example queries. And this is what it came up with. And but the everything that is specific to the data, like I'm saying this again, is really something that wasn't in the blueprint that we provided it with. And let's just switch to the version that Claude Code came up with. I think that's this one. So I just switching branch, and this is the other version. And it actually came up with a number of different queries in here that I can run. And let's use the same just for.
Okay. So you have a little bit more pre-selection, and then you click something, and then you add.
Obviously, the query is different. So there's might be a problem with the query because I get a different result. I think I told it to create the same, but obviously it interpreted it differently. But the visualization here is quite nice, I think.
That looks good.
Looks quite nice, and I like the way that you can have these extra queries over here. I forgot to come up with a nice detailed panel for this one because I asked it to only show the products. These have been designed, but it didn't do the other ones. So we'll probably take another round or two to get this to production quality. Well, no. To be fair, this is I won't be the one to tell you that you should go live with this one. Obviously, this is really what's the purpose of doing this? This is really about doing proof of concepts, getting started quickly, getting ideas or verifying ideas, or maybe quickly trying out something and see if that might work.
Exactly.
You shouldn't take this and just upload it and deploy it, obviously. And for two reasons, because, there might be bugs in there, bugs that also your developers or you as a developer could have made, but also that sometimes you could be adding more. And that's maybe one thing that, now that you're able to do this really quickly, why not use the power and really ask it follow-up questions and ask it to come up with more ideas? And I think that's really the power that you get here, because you can really come up with 10 ideas in an hour and then brainstorm it with your team and then decide which ones to use for your project. That's really cool. And you don't have to learn a thing initially. For making it production ready, you probably should go back and might have to do some debugging. But things will improve. I mean, we're just at the beginning. This is 2 years ago. No one would have imagined that this was possible. And now we're here. So that's really, really cool, I think. I have two more examples that I wanted to show you.
Okay. You got 10 minutes or something?
10 minutes? Okay, that's fine. That's one was that we did for, where is it? Yeah, this one is that's actually a bigger database that I got from Alexander Yarash, your colleague.
The patient journey thing, or
exactly, that's this patient journey database.
Yeah, okay. That's cool.
I think it's currently down. I will have to check that. But what I wanted to show you that it came up with really nice queries. So nothing of this was something that we instructed it to do so, or maybe just the first one, but it also came up with other queries, and those queries will then. I like the UI that it shows you the query.
It shows you actually the code. Yeah,
you can parameterize it and then execute it. Unfortunately, the connection to the database is currently it's not up.
Maybe it's on.
So I can't show you it live, but you need to trust me because this is just a schema.
Yeah.
And I was mostly trying to show you the different queries that it has in here.
But I mean, this is a great example of how such a visualization app can help users a lot, because technically in this case doctors or pharma experts, nobody expects them to know any Cypher. Nobody expects them to write code. If they are inclined of knowing Cypher, then they can double check here, but they can here easily add a condition, add some custom fields and add them in, and then execute depending on what they currently want to explore, and then they quickly get some results and quickly have a understanding of your data and what's in there. And it just, you remember this probably, and I was reminded of it when I looked at your LinkedIn profile the other day. Was when we did COVID graph and health echo. We were a couple of years ago, we were like struggling a lot with how do we build a proper visualization. We know that the data we have is really relevant, but we know that as it is currently in this Neo4j graph database, it is inaccessible to medical workers, to doctors, to healthcare experts, because it is just too cumbersome for them to get to the data. If we had something like this, we could have provided the whole data easily to everybody and could say, hey, click here, add some templates, or add some themes you're interested in, or some conditions or whatever else, and then render the data and render the visualization depending on your needs. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It would have saved me like 3 weekends, I think, because at that time I had coded all of this.
Yeah.
And it might have been the better results even going this way. I think definitely it's the better designer than I am, because I'm more like the coder. But yeah, absolutely. I think that's absolutely true what you said, because I mean, it's just one more prompt away, and it will remove the Cypher display, and you just get those natural language input where you, well, obviously, if you know how to type in diabetes, you can customize that query, and you can just like parameterize them, and then explore the database with little to no programming or Cypher query knowledge.
Exactly.
So that's really, really, really awesome. Yeah. One last thing is so the demo that I had in here, that's what was created with just one or two prompts. And just to give you an idea of where this ended, or how this can end in the end, this is something that we implemented manually, and that's the same data set, just to give you an idea how where this can lead to. So this is I think it was with the help of AI and LLMs, but this is mostly a manual implementation. But I hope that with a few more pages of documentation, we can teach LLMs to create something like this. And this is actually cool, because this is it's the whole supply chain visualization here. That's pretty interactive, so you can like see the upstream and downstream in there, see how this belongs to each other, and you can like remove the complexity by collapsing those things that you're not interested in. And it's even allows you to do like in a digital twin, you could just like play with the data and see what happens if you, I don't know, if you order more pastries, and then you see that, okay, now my chocolates are out, and I need to produce more, and I can get more. So that's really cool, because you see that you can work with it, not just see it, but work with it and provide feedback. This could be a simulation, but this could also go out to some systems, place orders, and automatically do this for you. So this really shows the power of graph analytics, because, well, obviously you can also like some of these bottlenecks you can just like calculate with graph analytics, but with a visualization like this, you can actually understand what's happening in there. And so this is one of the demos that we created. If all of these demos that we have in here, they are available as source code in our GitHub, and this means that the LLMs can read them too. So what I could go is and tell it, well, look at this example for, I don't know, the heat map example, and take this example and add the heat map effect to my visualization, and the LLM will go and copy creatively the parts that it needs and adjust it to the use case that I have, that I'm working on. And that's the wrong one. that's really where I think that the power comes from. So we spent a lot of energy in recent years to write documentation and demos, and now it finally pays back. Now finally someone who reads our documentation, the LLMs,
the LLMs, thankfully somebody. But that's the beauty of it, I think. And what you just showed here is from the prototype, the ugly duckling a little bit, towards the fine-tuned version from what you did with the help of LLMs, of course. But then you do some fine-tuning, but you only do the fine-tuning when you see the initial the first shot sort of with the LLM is already successful, or is already proving the point sort of, and you say, okay, yeah, this goes in the right direction, this gives me value, this is something I could envision seeing for us as a company or as a team to help us out. And then you add the additional manpower and to fine-tune it, to brush it up, and that it looks nice. But for the initial, proof of concept, for the initial test run, this is great. This is really, really great.
Exactly. So for those of you who want to try this out, I prepared this little GitHub gist file that we're going to share with you.
I put it in chat just a moment ago, and it's also in the video description on YouTube down below.
Perfect, and it contains links to all the materials that I used, and for you can like literally use this as a blueprint for you, or replay what I did. I think there's a bit more in there because I didn't get to it today, but that's fine. 2 more repos that I need to make public, but other than that, check out those links and try them out and create a visualization from your data in your database with these instructions over here.
Very cool. That's really cool. Try it out. Let us know if you built something nice, and put it in the comments on YouTube. So I'd like to see what you did with that documentation here. We have 2 questions which I'd like to read, and maybe we can quickly answer them. One is coming from John. John says, impressive. In addition to structured data, is there a method for surfacing file, graphics, video previews, or links to the original files into the templates? So I guess to re-clarify, I think in the graph in itself, you don't store images or video files. You store them, or even the raw documentation somewhere. You would store them somewhere else maybe, but you could link up to the file, and then I don't know if you have a demo somewhere where we or if there's something you did some time where we can see the original video file, or the original documentation PDF, or the original image. Is
exactly
where is it? Can people click on it? Can people preview it?
Yeah, for example, for the data that I showed you before, this is basically what it's doing. In the database, there's actually a property called icon, which is AC_unit in this case. And this is exactly the data that I had in this demo. And what happens is the data gets loaded from the database, and then in the template, we're probably adding some prefix to that icon, and then that icon is dynamically loaded into the visualization. So you can have this as a regular link. So if you want this to be a clickable link, you can have this there. But you can also obviously dynamically change the visualization, in this case by embedding an icon. Obvious example is if you won't be storing the images of your employees in the graph database, I guess so at least. Yeah. But there might be a link in there to some server where you can load this image from, and this is. And you can tell I could have told the LLM to use that information to create a link so that the image gets fetched dynamically. I didn't, but I could have.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way it works. Yeah, and this could be. I mean, you could even have a YouTube video playing in here if you want to. Yeah. I would recommend against that, but you could. That's basically no limitation as to what is in here, as long as the browser can display it for this technology in here. So there could be interactive items, there could be whole websites in here, and this is all data driven. So as long as you can derive that information from your database contents, you can create the visualization.
Cool. And the other question comes from Isaliets. They ask, is there a gravity approach like planets, attraction, or repulsion between defined nodes? a very specific visualization question. I don't know if that is something you did in one of your demos.
I think we even in the, let me go back to the, where is it? The so many tabs in here. The example with the Streamlit application widget, that's basically what he's referring to is a different type of layout. Layout is as I said, is the method of placing elements on the screen, and there's different approaches, and one of them is to use these force-directed modules where you think of nodes being like elements in physical elements, and there's springs between those nodes where there's a connection, and then you simulate what happens with these, and that's one of the many layouts that we have, and that's a pretty common layout. It's simple but effective if you don't know anything about the structure that's in there. So if there's no like flow in there or inherent items that should be at the top, then this is a good one. And there's also the way of doing this interactively. Where is this? So you could just tell it to use this one, and we have it in the Streamlit widget. I just maybe you can start with the next questions. I'll check back with the widget. I think it's the wrong one. But yeah,
but I mean, answer is yes, and we can you can always
absolutely.
There's one more question from Electra that just came in. Electra says, "Thank you so much, Sebastian, for the demo. Can I ask, have you included any instructions in your tool so that the most appropriate layout is used each time, depending on the data topology or the specific use case?"
Yes and no. I mean, we in our core documentation, it's mostly pretty technical. It explains how those algorithms work, and they also give references to typical use cases where they could be used. If you're curious about what layout matches your use case best, I recommend you take a look at our use case section that we have on our homepage, which is pretty generic. So even if you are not using our tools, you could check them out. There's lots of different use cases which also, like, they reference the various layouts that might be helpful. So if you're looking into fraud detection or supply chain, then there will be reference to what kind of layout you should be looking at. So that's one way of doing that. And the other way is really like, well, what I recommend is try it out. It's relatively easy switching layouts. If you have one that once you have the data in there, switching layout is basically just one line code of change, and then trying what works best for you. Do the user tests, see what questions do they have, and what kind of arrangement helps them answer those questions in the easiest way.
Okay. Cool. Makes sense, I think. And with that, we are a little bit over time, but I think it was really interesting to answer the question as well. Thank you for those. Thank you, Sebastian, for presenting today and for showing us interesting, developing co-piloting, vibe coding, depending on how it doesn't matter how you want to call it, but build visualizations, graph visualizations with the help of agents and the LLM. So it's really cool, and it was really fun. And I'm still always impressed how nice it looks in that sense, and how far you can get with a quick few minutes and a couple of prompts.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed that, and I'll be happy to come back again next year.
anytime. Yes. Speaking of next, the next stream is happening on the 9th of December. So in a couple of weeks, Jesus and I will have the next episode of Going Meta. If you missed Nodes, beginning of November, we have just announced Nodes AI. This happens in April. It's again very much online, around the clock, for a specific AI conference. And we have a call for papers open. So if you want to submit something, if you want to present something, if you build something, now you got inspired. I see your comment, John. Sparked the imagination of the possibilities. If you think, oh yeah, I can do something, I can build something, or I'm about to build something cool with graphs and maybe AI, let us know. Submit a cool talk or interesting talk. We're looking for your submissions. And yeah, obviously next steps, check out the Graph Academy for interesting courses. One of these days, we probably have something on AI-assisted graph visualizations. At the moment, we have lots of other things there, so check those courses out. Try out Aura free if you want to start with graphs in an easy way. And yeah, look at our developer pages for more resources, documentations. We also have documentation. Maybe we should also create a large file with all the bits for the LLM to help it out. And yeah, I think with that, we're at the end. Again, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Sebastian, for the cool demo today and for the cool showcase. And yeah, I hope to see you soon around, either online, offline, wherever you are, and wherever we meet. Let us know. Say hi. Yeah, with that,
I will.
Take care, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.